Hey, welcome back. I'm so glad that you're here. I'm so glad that I'm here. So glad that we're doing this again. And what are we doing? We're going to tune into our higher selves, tune into our hearts, and really just tap in, tune in, listen to the guidance that comes out today. And I love doing this because not only am I, you know, giving this freely to everyone that feels like listening, but also, it helps me also recalibrate, refocus, and know what to do next. Because this is medicine for me, for you, for whoever. And I'm holding this book. This actually fell off the bookshelf right on me as I was getting ready, and so I'm taking that as a sign that these cards need to come out and play with us today. Literally falling on my head. Well, sort of. I caught it. So, but anyway, a little bit about the energy of today is that today is the day before the, what do you call that? Half moon. First quarter. Is that how it goes? Me and terminology, Matt. Anyway, it's the day where it is like you just see half of the face of the moon, and it will be in the sign of Pisces. And I was just thinking that, we work a lot with new moons, planting seeds of intention and getting something started, and then full moons where it's something where it has reached the pinnacle and we're releasing it and then letting it go. So out into the universe where, then hopefully if, we can manifest something amazing in our lives. So, but what about half moons? What about those? Half the quarter moons? Well, it's kind of a time of refocusing and recalibrating, remembering all the stuff. And so when I was getting ready to film today, I decided that what better to put up on my wall than a mess. This is not a painting. That actually is what I make my paintings on. So that's what my table would look like if I painted with nothing on it. It's messy. Paint gets a lot of places. Luckily, I don't really get it on myself. I get it on that thing. But I think it's beautiful in its own weird, abstract kind of way. And so I was just sitting and, I don't know if you've been following me for a while. My house outside externally is super freaking loud. It just has gotten louder and louder and louder. And so finding peace as a very, very sensitive person here inside my house has been pretty challenging, to say the least. And just as like a little asterisk at the bottom of the page, fine print, is that again, the gardeners just know exactly when I'm filming. And they came here earlier today, trimmed a bunch of trees, and so they were running chainsaws. And now they left, and I was like, oh, wonderful. Okay, I'll get ready and I'll have a quiet day and I'll film and blah, blah, blah. And then now they're back. They're back to do the leaf blowing because they forgot to do that. So it's okay. You know what? We just live with what it is. And this is an urban, crazy environment. So, boom. So, but that being said, it's really gotten me like more focused on what do I want and what do I want to create in my reality. And going through this very sonically challenging time, my guides have been very clear, very, very clear. And it's interesting because it's almost like I can hear them even better now that it's been so loud. That makes sense. Because maybe I really did need the shaking and the quaking to kind of get me out of a certain comfort zone. I don't know. I'm still thinking about that. But my guides were very, very clear with me, and they showed me that, I'm just manifesting more and more and more of it if I just continue to focus on what I don't want, what I don't like. So if, I've got some truck out there revving his engine for like freaking an hour, and I'm just irritated and focused on exactly that, well, I'm basically telling the universe, give me more. Give me more of that. Bring it. I just want all the revving engines and all of the chainsaws and all just the cacophony of noise endlessly for all 24 hours of my day. And I tuned into what they were trying to tell me, and it was to really breathe in, really feel with all of my senses the times when I have relief. And all of those times, really just milk it for all it's worth. Just really, really saturate yourself in that feeling of relief, like peace. And just kind of feel that right now. Just whatever craziness is going on in your life, because I know that in some area we are all like on a humanity, I can't say that word right now. On all levels, humanity, earth, animals, we're all going through some big shifts and quakes and changes, because this is the Pachacuti in the tradition that I love so much, of the high Andes and the indigenous people there. They call this the Pachacuti. And that is, if you imagine a big farm field and the earth being turned and plowed so that all the nutrients that has been buried actually resurfaces and is turned. That's this time. So we are being mulched. And it's crazy and it's intense and it can be very hard and it can be very beautiful, because every time we have these big breakthroughs, on the other side is this big, like, aha, look at what I've learned. Look at what I've grown into. Look at who I am. And it's helping us remember who we are. And that is beautiful, because we are all so very magical and very powerful, and we are such incredible manifestors of reality, whether that be manifestors of limitation or abundance. The choice is yours. You are constantly manifesting, constantly, because that is who you are. You are a creator. So anyway, I decided to put a giant mess up on the wall today, really to anchor in that it's beautiful to change and transform and turn into something new, even if you don't exactly know what you're turning into. So let's go ahead and just breathe in to that relief, whatever relief means to you at this time. And for me, it looks like I'm just going to stretch. And I am just going to, apologies ahead of time if it starts to get loud out there. There's loads of leaves, so they're going to have so much fun with their leaf blowers today. But I really just want to we're going to focus. We're going to be the eye of the storm. And we're just going to get straight to the truth and listen to what our guides have to say, regardless of what's going on around us or inside us. Because, I'm recognizing that for me, it's an outside environmental thing, but maybe for others, this is a chronic pain or, an issue that just has not gone away. So in however which way, breathe into release and relief. The big word is relief. Really find that relief. Look at for where does it live in your body? Where does relief live in your body? And think about what that word actually means. Re-leaf, which feels like life. Re-life. So filling yourself back up with life in all of those little pockets that really just, they already feel it, they already know it, and they can inform the rest of what it feels like to breathe and expand and feel good right now. Just really feel good. And let it take root. Let it make you feel strong. Let that life just move through you. Make it really part of you because you are life. You are alive. Rejoice in that. Celebrate that you're alive. And it feels so good to be alive. So let's just jump right in. We'll say thank you to all of our higher selves that are here, our hearts. And just look at the back of this card. Isn't that beautiful? Hearts united. Your heart, my heart, divine heart of all that is. So let's go ahead and see what the land of Fae has to tell us today. Oh, I love shuffling these cards. Some cards are just really yummy to shuffle. Oh, look at that one. That one is just popping straight out. And so is this one. However, I don't want to make this reading too long, so we'll take a peek at that. We'll see how it goes. Okay. Okay. In two minds. Oh, look at these two little faces. So it almost makes, there's like two little elvish gnome creatures looking at each other straight in the eye. But then together, they actually make like one face. And I love that. Think about how sometimes you're battling back and forth with the thoughts stirring in your head, pulling you one way and the other way and the other way and the other way. And it's asking us to just bring those two hemispheres back together. I'm actually feeling like a re-knitting of my hemispheres as I'm looking at this card. And this actually I feel is more of an activation. So honestly, just maybe just like hold. I'm feeling like the temperance card. The temperance card is where she's pouring water back and forth, balancing these two polarities, these two things that are opposing each other. And it doesn't necessarily look like they're arguing, they just have a difference between them. Perhaps it's a different way of looking at the world. Perhaps it's that they both want to go the same path. Does anybody remember that Dr. Seuss book? Trying to remember the creatures in that book. But they're two immovable obstacles, and they just stand there staring at each other, never moving. Oh, I wish I could remember. Oh well, it'll come to me. To the folks that remember Dr. Seuss, let me know in the comments below if you remember the two creatures that they meet each other. And then highways and cities or just the world grows around them and they're still staring at each other in their ferocity of never budging, never moving. Are there two pieces of your mind that need to come and see eye to eye? And perhaps they're actually working on the same thing, but they're doing it a little differently. So let's go ahead and read because I'm so curious to see what does that say. There we go. Okay. in two minds: internal dialogue, decision, action. Should I? Shouldn't I? I could do it this way, but then again, I could do it that way. I could change things, but then again, I could just let things be the way they are. I could get up and I could do something, or I could sit here and I could think about it. Do I want Chinese food? Do I want Italian food? Do I want to walk in the park or another hour in front of the TV? Oh, decisions, decisions, decisions plague our minds and our lives. In two minds, has never made a decision in his life. He's never made a decision in his life. Listen to that. At least not one that he has stuck with for more than a minute or two. He just can't. He literally has two voices going on in his head at all times, and they never, ever, ever, ever agree. Do you recognize him? He may be living in your head even as you read this. If he is familiar to you, then it's time to acknowledge him. Remember that once you acknowledge him, his presence can be useful. By picking this card, you recognize the fact that although any argument has at least two sides, in the end, you get to choose and you get to make a decision. It may not end up being the right one, but until you decide on some sort of action, you're stuck as he is, forever arguing with yourself, forever in a static state. Be brave, do something. When you take that first step, you'll find that the next one may be clearer and more obvious than you could ever imagine. And so what's coming to mind with this is that it's okay to make a mess. And so a lot of times, and I hear it in this kind of community where we're actively trying to create our best lives and we're actively trying to be our best selves. But sometimes we stay paralyzed in not knowing what to do or how to act. And it's that perfectionistic part of yourself that sets you into these bars that you can't budge. And because fear of messing it all up and how am I going to screw it up? And if I screw it up, am I going to screw it up really, really big? And then you're just stuck. And I've been there many, many times, many, many, many times. And so having these two on our side, he knows what it feels like to be stuck, thinking, ruminating, going back and forth, back and forth. But he also knows how to put his mind together. Because I mean, I'm really seeing how he's figured out how to put himself together. Him and his twin. And I think that's really cool. We'll take a little peek at the next card. Oh, I love it. Okay. This makes perfect sense. The Fairy of Growth. As soon as we make a decision, make a small action, we start to grow. One way or the other, even if it's a mistake that we make, even if it is kind of a mess that we have to clean up, we're still growing, we're still learning, and we're still moving forward. We're not actually stagnant. We're actually moving. And I think that's really, really beautiful. So what's a good question to ask? I'm feeling these cards, the archetype cards. And the archetype will tell us, what archetype are we here stuck in, going back and forth with, back and forth with? Because he's going to help us take a look at that, look at it right in the eye, and just simple awareness helps it shift, helps it grow, helps it move. Just the simple act of awareness can help us understand a little bit more about why we are stuck. Oh my goodness. And it's that phase of the moon, the balance of the moon. It's that place of recalibrating, reformulating, So it is part of nature to be in a space where you go back and forth between the two. It's oscillation, and it all of this is natural. It's part of life. But let's take a look at what archetype or archetypes are we oscillating between? Because I think that's something important. Okay, well, let's look at the first one because I'm feeling very drawn. What is this? The thread. Hmm, the thread. And see, I like how there's this rainbow up here, and then there's this thread being pulled or climbed. Actually, I kind of feel like it's being climbed up to the rainbow. The thread. Let's see, where does the thread live in this little book? Okay, so first of all, it's in the tools part of the book. It's taking me a minute to actually get there. Where are you? Does anybody else get tripped up with Roman numerals? I know I do. Um, it's just, yep. All right. The thread, the path, the vein, the circuit. Life is a tangle. So much happens simultaneously and circuitously, leaving us grappling for meaning and direction in a network of distractions. When we connect to the energy of the thread, however, we strike the deepest vein in the body. Our whole being responds to its tug. Meaning is pumped through our bloodstream. Our mind and spirits are lifted. We remember who we are and what we came into this world to do. Though this happens on the most profound level, it could be the simplest incident that activates the thread. A song, an image, a conversation heard in passing, no matter how confusing and multi-layered our modern lives become, if we are connected to the thread, we are free. Being tethered to it is the only anchor our heart requires. The thread. In relation to this, two minds, where I really feel like this is a thread of thought that we're pulling, that these two different decisions or non-decisions, these where we're oscillating, is that, it does have a through point, a simple through point where the both of them are connected. Okay, so let's pull the other side. I feel like, whoop, we're oscillating. Oh my goodness. The destroyer. Okay, this is starting to make sense. Yeah. Okay, the destroyer and the thread, two minds, growth. So the destroyer comes in with the thread, asking which threads are ready to go, which ones are ready to be kept, which ones need to be strengthened. And when the destroyer comes in, it is the beginning of creation. It's the beginning of growth. Because you really do need to make space to grow something. And so oscillating between these threads that keep us anchored and tethered to different things and people and just ideas in our life. And then the destroyer who comes in and looks at you in the dark, asking, are you ready to make space? It's not always easy to make space. You really do have to make decisions that are pretty challenging sometimes to really let the destroyer come in and make space. And then once there is space, though, then you can see these threads more clearly. There are so many threads, infinite threads. And so clearing some of these threads, and look at just, this is like, I see like this light being illuminating from this deep darkness in the middle here. And then all these, like an explosion of threads. And I'm actually feeling this exercise that I have been doing recently, maybe all the time, but just consciously more recently, where when I'm trying to do that, like feeling relief, I feel as if my entire aura is suddenly purged of all of these little tangled strings, all these things, because as very sensitive people, we absorb and filter energy that is constantly around us. So let's just imagine you're going through your day, you're at work, you're at the grocery store, you're surrounded in people and their stories and their problems and their emotions and blah, 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 blah. We are constantly filtering and feeling these things, and they become part of us if we are not discerning and deliberate about what stays and what goes. And so, really taking the time every day to seriously let Destroyer, I feel, has kind of a negative feel wrap to it, only because we're afraid of change. But change is actually super, super necessary. And if we invite the destroyer in with respect and this again, looking at each other in the eye. You see how these eyes are in the dark? Truth. Really looking at each other and being real with yourself of like, okay, that's not mine. Never was mine. I'm ready to let that go. And then open up your heart. And I'm really feeling this rainbow. See this rainbow energy and this alignment of the red thread there. Root chakra, heart energy, truth, your truth cord. The thread is your truth cord. And you'll know what needs to be let go and released and destroyed by tapping into your truth cord. And you can even feel it. Pluck it. Pluck your truth cord. What feels true? Like a guitar string, like a harp string. And really just feel your truth cord, the one that anchors you all the way down into the center of the earth and all the way up to your guiding star. And feel what happens when your truth cord is tuned and in harmony and singing your song. And when you start to strum it, everything that is not yours is vibrationally released. And you can just feel that. Just feel that. Feel that being released. And see that line, these lines here. This is that wheel, as above, so below, and then east and west, the beginning and end of your story here on earth, everything illuminated from that heart space. And I don't know about these. I'm not sure what that even means to me here. These little blobs of gold. Perhaps it's balance. That feels really strong. And so now I understand a little bit better. Tapping into your truth chord sometimes, takes some discerning and telling yourself the truth. Like this little guy has to tell himself the truth to keep moving forward. Looking at yourself in the eye. It kind of reminds me of looking at your own reflection. Do you look at your own reflection when you're brushing your teeth? Or do you shy away from your reflection and stop looking? Are you okay being a mess? So looking at yourself in the eye and really asking yourself, oh, wow. Asking yourself, who am I? And then asking your reflection, who are you? I wonder what your reflection would have to tell you. Okay, as always, let's go ahead and pull some crystal cards and an animal card because there are allies in this journey. Okay, who's at the bottom? The bottom of the deck. Little red fox. Oh, so beautiful. Shape shift. Love that. Okay, so let's take a look at a crystal. Little crystal friend. Who is our crystal friend? That helps us strum our truth chord. Do we get this a lot? I feel like we have gotten this many times. Turquoise. And it says, find your way home. Find your way home. Finding your way to your heart. And the heart is really the first place you called home when you were a tiny, teeny fetus. It was the very first place that you knew, and that was your heart. And coming straight back into your home, into your heart, and into your sanctuary, your nest. And take a look at these, there's a south here. And so I can only guess that this is a compass and finding your center. And I really see this sun, this small little egg in the middle, finding your center and strumming your truth chord. Okay, let's see. I swear by the time we get to like 1,000 of these readings, we'll have all of these cards memorized, right? So look at that beautiful little card. Turquoise. Okay. You can always find your way home, Turquoise assures, and she knows. She has traveled by caravan across the Silk Road and escorted royalty on the byways between life and death. Turquoise is a wayfinder and a companion for when the path is unknown or feels treacherous. Whether in real time or in the shadowed lands of journeys and dreams, she offers protection to the parts of your psyche that are lost, scared, or hidden away. There is tension to being human, to having a yin and yang aspect, which occasionally conflict. How appropriate, right? Leaving you simultaneously wanting to stretch your wings and never leave the nest. Turquoise gets it. Go and grow, she whispers. I will help you find your way home. Wow. So there's ways to interpret this nest where it's like, being kind of stuck in the shell, stuck in the nest, not spreading your wings. And so turquoise is actually one of those stones that can help you really feel confident and fearless when making these decisions of what stays and what goes. And But doing that practice, maybe even holding, if you have a little piece of turquoise, again, these things don't matter. Everything that is inside of you. So if you do not have a piece of turquoise, just meditate on turquoise or even just the color of turquoise and allowing that to just be there with you as you illuminate your heart, shine it out through all the layers of your aura, and really just giving yourself a big, clean, fresh start and letting all those tangled edges just kind of melt into the universe, come back to center. And turquoise can really help do that in a super efficient and graceful way. So now let's get an animal. Oh, I love when that happens. Did you see that? House finch. Okay, there's a lot of home tending right now. House finch. These used to be like right under the rafters in my house, and they have since moved, but I hope they come back. I love these. Oh, the little house finch. And it looks like it's holding a giant rock. That rock is like almost too big. And it also looks as if it's trying to untie the string, and it's in front of a mirror. For a second, I was a little confused with the image, but it's in front of a mirror. So, working with mirrors, look at yourself in the eye. Really confront yourself. It's powerful to look at yourself. Being vulnerable with your own self is actually like being vulnerable with you can do that with everyone else, but being vulnerable with your own self sometimes is actually even more difficult. But look at this house finch. Where did you go? Okay. And here's the image really, really big. Oh, it's so cool. Okay. It says House Finch's song is so sunny and sweet that in the 1940s, a speculator tried to sell this small bird as a pet, which he called the Hollywood finch, a reference to the finch's West Coast roots. The ploy was a flop, perhaps because House Finch can't compete with Parrot for beauty and cage appeal. Unable to sell his stash of songbirds, the speculator released House Finch and friends on Long Island, and from there they quickly spread to bird feeders across the United States. If you, like Finch, have ever been deemed not enough, remember this is exactly how House Finch escaped his gilded cage. Despite being judged as not enough, Finch still sings like a star. You too have strength, a song. Do you know what it is? The song. And here we are talking like the truth chord singing our truth song, the song of you. And here we have the house finch and the words in this book talking about how beautiful its song is. And truth be told, I don't know really anything aside from that they live here where I live and roosted in my rafters for some time. And they I don't know if they mate forever, but they are mated pair, and it looks like, at least from what I could see myself, they equally were taking care of those babies, rushing in and out of that little nest to take care of them. I am fascinated by it untying this heavy, heavy stone. And again, I feel like it comes back to, again, the song, the thread, and the destroyer. and the mind, the two minds, it's in front of a mirror. So we have so much symbolism going on. Like the symbolism is getting compounded with this card. Like, have you noticed almost all themes are here in this card? That's pretty amazing. So really just allowing the house finch. It's interesting. Allowing the house finch to be good enough to be your guide right now. And how sweet some tiny, innocent, and very commonplace animal to really show you how to do these very common this the act of changing shape is very commonplace. It happens all across everything. Like constantly things are moving and shape changing. Like right now the trees are all losing their leaves and I don't hear any of them complaining about, oh no, all my leaves are falling and in a panic over losing their leaves. I don't hear any of them complaining. In fact, all I can hear them doing is rejoicing and singing their song and showing off their branches and saying, yeah, all these leaves were really hiding my branches, and my branches are so beautiful. And yeah, so I don't know. This is an interesting reading, and I really love how the messages really come through so very strongly. And so I'd love to hear from you guys how things take shape in your world, and um how have these readings been sitting with you? Because I feel like we also move through time together with these readings, and they keep evolving, and I feel like the readings are growing roots themselves. And so now here we have the symbol of birds. Oh, guys, thank you. Whoever just mentioned, did I read the destroyer? I don't think I did. Yeah, so thank you for that, whoever you are. Um, oh my goodness, where are you? Okay, okay. Hmm. All right, the destroyer, the final of the three archetypes in the trio of existence, has necessary yet painful work to do in the world. Culturally, we have an aversion to endings, and we hang on to permanence as a signifier of success. Yet the destroyer pulls the rug out from underneath relationships, jobs, homes, and all forms of security. It is the part of us that wants things to end. Its its painful orientation is to uncover our true purpose. The destroyer does not let us linger long in comforts, as it knows not much happens in that realm. With its piercing eyes, it seeks out stagnancy from a distance, and the rest becomes history. In the old myths, this is the moment when the heads begin to roll, the ground opens up, the castles rumble. Hold on for the ride, the destroyer has arrived. So, and it says that when this is in its light attributes, swift and precise blows that redirect our life. And I'm really feeling like, again, this is being real with ourselves, that the destroyer doesn't just come in to destroy things for nothing, for fun, that it's actually an ally. An ally, we have allies in the dark. And it's really, really important to make good friends with the allies in the dark, because those are the ones that really do serve when things get rough. and looking at these destructive forces that, on a ego level, we can look at it and say, oh my God, my life is falling apart and everything has turned to shit. Well, on a medicine level, we can take a look at how is it serving me? How is it serving me? And that is really up to you to find out and to really look at yourself in the eye and be true with yourself and pull that truth cord ever tighter so that that song can really be strummed and sung. Because when the thread is wobbly and out of tune, it just sags and there is no vibration and we can't hear. But when that thread is pulled tight and the weave is strong, then it really holds function. It becomes functional together. And so all of our threads are so necessary right now because we are that warp and the weft together. And if all of us are just saggy, baggy hoarders and we just don't let loose of any of the strings ever, ever, then we've got a pretty fricked up basket. So let's get back in harmony with each other. And this is you and me and everyone. And we won't always look at how they're continued to be separate. We won't always agree. We won't always do things the same. We might always even be friends. But the truth is that we can look at each other with respect and we can at least see each other's truth. So there's that, my loves. Wow, what a reading. Can't do it without you and your beautiful energy. You guys are so powerful and so strong. I mean, honestly, look, like the things that come out in this reading, these things wouldn't come out for you unless you were freaking powerful and amazing and creators of such beauty and artistry in your own way. And I just can't wait to see what things are like for you as they grow and shift and change. And comment, make comments down below, share. Like it's beautiful to get together on this channel. And don't just hide out in the shadows, just come out. It's okay. This is a non-judgmental crowd. If there are judgmental people, they're on the wrong channel. You need to go somewhere else. And yeah, make a mess. It's okay. Nobody's gonna judge you for spelling errors or grammar grammar, any of that, whatever. It doesn't really matter. So please share your messes and your beautiful creations and just all of that. And yeah, that's kind of it for now. I think just to kind of sum things up and end things, I guess I just want to say, first of all, thank you, thank you, thank you for being here. And do that little thing where you like it and subscribe. That way more people can actually have access to these readings because I really don't know who these readings are for. And it would be great if they could reach the people they're meant to reach. So time is of the essence for that, I feel. So yeah, share it around, help it out. Let this thing be released into the wild. And in terms of, what's going on here, I'm very, very slowly opening up the calendar. I basically just have room for 1 or 2 readings for the month of December. So if you would like to be one of those lucky people that get a mind-blowing, incredible reading that will get your next year in order, find out, what things will help you recalibrate and how to really get off on the right foot for next year, then hit me up. Let me know that you want to schedule one because I really only have space just for probably two, maybe. Not even, I'm not even sure about two. One? I don't know. It's kind of depends on who's asking. So anyway, that being said, just because I love you and it is that time, I'm also feeling like being very, very generous and giving a discount. I don't really know what that discount is. I don't do like Black Friday, blah, blah, blah stuff and whatever any of that mumbo jumbo is. But in the spirit of just wanting um to do what I love with people that I love, then I would be so happy to extend generosity your way and do discounted rates. So, but that's just reach out to me. We work something out because I don't know what they is. Yeah. And that being said, also month of December, I think I'm slipping into hibernation mode, and I feel like I will probably take more more of these days to myself. This just so that everybody knows out there, I do this on my free time. This is my day off. And I do this because I love doing it and I love you. And that being said, I think I'm going to be a little bit more selfish with my days off in hibernation mode because I feel like retreating and going back into my little cave. And my birthday is in January. It's going to be a big year next year. Um, I don't really care how long this video is, so I'll just continue talking. But bye if you need to leave. But next year for me, it feels like a very big karmic year. Looking at my astrology chart, I have a lot of planets on the very last degree, the end. And so also my ascendant is on the very last degree. So I feel like I'm coming up on a big time of doing my own, looking at myself and coming to my truth. Gotta sit here and strum my truth chord a lot. And yeah, get back into my center. What do I want to create? Right now things are looking like that. And what do I want to create next year? And what do I want that to look like? And so I'm really, really excited. I got a new planner that I will show you guys when it arrives, hopefully very, very soon. But it has all of your zodiac transits and everything all laid out for you. Oh my God, I'm like so geeking out already for it to get here. But I feel like that's going to be a really good tool for me to start to map and track and see these changes that I'm actually in. So, yeah, news on that later on. But I'm so glad for everybody who has stuck with me this long. I love you and appreciate you. And I will see you next time, whenever that is, because I might take a break next week. Love you. Bye.